Okay, peace family, truth. The sister made a request for me to expound on identity theft and what do I mean by that. When we go through history and specifically when we look at our people and we look at the dynamic that we have experienced in our culture, a lot of people argue during the 40s, 50s, 60s, it's racisms. We had a lot of people who purported the civil rights movement and endorsed it, and in endorsing it, thinking that civil rights meant that we had a right to exist as a people in the political scheme underneath the United States so-called corporate government. Now, when we say identity theft and birthright theft versus racism, what I'm saying is that racism has been used and purported as a scheme. The scheme to get people emotionally upset, used as a trigger word to feel like they are being uh maybe infringed upon because of the complexion of their skin or because of the texture of their hair. All these different things that would create this emotional tension that would make you feel like you're being rejected by another group of people because of your physical genetic makeup. It's not racism at all. You have to know history. You have to know history and what happened and what occurred as a result of 1492 prior to the Inquisition between the Moors of Spain and the European Christians. That's what you need to know, and how their so-called United States government has been established in the United States. I just want to set that as a premise before I expound on it. Okay, we saying identity theft and birthright theft because in order for us to be able to not be able to associate ourselves or tie ourselves back to the land, there has to be a falsification of information, a falsification of consciousness, meaning that you would have to adopt somebody else's concept or ideology, identification, and labels and terms and language in order for you not to see or identify yourself or associate yourself or tie yourself back to the land through bloodline, through lineage, through parentage, etc. So by identity theft, I mean someone has blatantly robbed you, denied you, or rejected you from you being able to have access to your proper historical identification. So when another group of people is subject to another group of people's physically power through their supremacy, through their dominance, that means they're subject to everything that comes with it. The name, the food, the culture, everything. So here it is that I can label you or classify you as Negro, blacks, colored, Africans, African Americans, Haitians, Jamaicans, Indians, Native Americans, Colombians, you name it. When it comes to our people, we have several different identities because this is what the colonists has gave us. So what's going on? I can brand you with these terms, make you come underneath the 14th Amendment corporate citizenship status, underneath the Negro Act, the 1724 Black Christian Codes. I can take your national identity and have you arguing about crayons and then have you arguing about racism and make it a color complected scheme or a color complected argument. When we look at the United Nations, they're not dealing with yellow, brown, red, black, green, purple. They're dealing with nationalities. So when I can steal your nationality, that means that I can steal your identity. And then when I steal your identity, then that means that I steal your rights to make a claim to the land or to your estate. It's called birthright thefts. So now you don't have a right to make a claim because you keep identifying yourself as one, corporate citizens, two, as branded terms that's been given to you as a result of your experience as a result of colonization and enslavement and genocide. Excuse me, because it's not enslavement, it's called genocide. So when I can systematically get a people to politically think that they are Negro, black, colored, then that means that I misclassified their consciousness with a falsification of information. So this is what's going on now. So we start arguing all this racism, and it's not racism. Europeans are now calling themselves Americans. Last time I checked, you was Caucasian, you was German, you was French, you was Dutch. You know what I'm saying? You was Portuguese. You was all these different things. And now you claim an American, and American means to be indigenous. An indigenous inhabitant to the land, copper colored complected. So we can go right down to Mexico. We can go to anywhere on this planet, and you want to see the indigenous people look like us. So wait for part two. I'm going to continue to expound more on it.